Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Bronze League Heroes. I know it's been at least 2 months since the last episode that I've uploaded onto my YouTube channel. But anyway, it's Light of Void here, bringing you another episode of Bronze League Heroes and your members of the red team today, featuring Mr. Pan on Reyna, Igak on Alexstrasza, Piotrek on Stitches, Vox Matron on Phoenix, and myself, Light of Void, on Medivh. For those of you who might have seen my Medivh guide, well, this is the perfect game to showcase how Medivh is played. But anyway, this is a very exciting game. And on the blue team, featuring John Cochin on Leoric, Majer on Cassia, Azuwala on Li Ming, Dijinka on Lily, who gets hooked by Stitches, and finally, of course, Kimaru on the blue team's Diablo, as Stitches lands a beautiful hook onto Lily, but unfortunately Lily is a little bit too tanky and does not actually die, even though she was the focus fire of the entire red team. And Stitches again with that hook on Li Ming, but Li Ming, with her precise and immediate teleport, does manage to avoid any sort of follow-up on the red team. So I'm not sure whether you guys like it, but introducing the player names and, you know, the players who are playing the heroes, I'm not sure whether you guys like that or not, so please do feel free to leave any comments in the comment section below, because I find that, you know, talking about the player names sort of adds another additional, you know, an additional layer to who's actually playing the hero, rather than, you know, just your typical Reyna player or your typical Leoric player. Or you see Reyna in the solo lane, and Light of Void, myself and Medivh, going in for a gank with the portals. Unfortunately, Leoric does Wraith walk away. Stitches taking the portal at the very last second, wanting to hook Leoric, but the minions to get in the way. And as Lily continues her Lily stuff, which includes, of course, healing up at poor Leoric, who is getting focus fired down quite quickly. And as Stitches does manage to hook and takes the portal, inadvertently takes the portal back, but I have to say this was a very, very fun game. I won't spoil it for you, of course, but for your viewers out there, it's important to note that I have never ever met this Stitches before, but you know, I sort of take a liking to Stitches before, because he actually knows how to use portals. Out of every single, every single ranked match that I play, I see that many people don't actually use the portals at all. And with this Stitches' proactive usage of the portal in the early game, you know, you already sort of get to know what sort of person he is, and his general playstyle, and whether he understands the game mechanics well enough in order to execute certain strategies. But anyway, Diablo versus Phoenix in the bottom lane, as Phoenix is going to get ganked by 3 members of the blue team, including Cassia, Leoric, and Diablo, and Phoenix does die to Cassia's Lightning Fury. As Medivh flies around, looking and searching for an opportune target. But Stitch's one big weakness is that he cannot poke through minions, and the Medivh shield does negate most of the damage, thus Cassia dealt, but Leoric Wraith walks away at the very last second in order to ensure his survival. Which begs the question, what is Diablo doing in the bottom lane, and has he gotten the correct sustain talent? No, Diablo has gotten Feast on Fear, which is not the correct sustain talent when you're laning, at least. Alexstrasza doing Alexstrasza things, healing up her entire team, and Medivh is, of course, flying around in rain form trying to spot a target for the Stitches hooks, and, you know, poking around with Arcane Rift. That's Medivh stuff, you know, that's Medivh stuff. Diablo charges in trying to take down Reyna, but Reyna, unfortunately, well, Diablo's team wasn't there to follow up. Reyna is looking a little bit low now, but with Alexstrasza popping off her Dragon Queen cooldown, that should be a massive ton of healing for Reyna anyway. Which, I mean, Alexstrasza activating the Dragon Queen a little bit prematurely, perhaps, but looks like Stitches is in a bit of a pickle, and Medivh's portal will indeed open up a whole new world for him as Stitches teleports back into the middle of the objective, and again Stitches avoiding death for the second time. Medivh poking around with his Arcane Rift, not knowing, and Medivh completes his quest at exactly 4 minutes 10 seconds into the game, which is a good sort of time to complete Arcane Rift quest. And right now the objective is contested with the blue team at 99% and objective is at overtime, which means that as long as the red team, or at least one of the red team members, is standing on the objective will continue to be on overtime. But unfortunately Phoenix does get taken out by Diablo's Shadow Charge, which is quite unfortunate, and Medivh is a little bit low, and Stitches again hooks Leoric back to the tower. Looks like Li Ming does manage to take down Reyna, and Stitches couldn't hook anything, as I think Alexstrasza is getting a little bit irritated as she says nice FFS, which is a bit unfortunate. Alexstrasza, meant to be the preserver of life, actually lets down her ally Reyna. Sorry, I thought it was Phoenix who died for a second there, just for a second there. But with Alexstrasza's percentage-based healing, Stitches manages to hook a minion, great for Stitches. And Protector is continually dealing damage to the fort indeed. Not sure what the portal there was for, I must have misclicked. But Stitches, you know, Medivh is a prophet after all, he can see into the future indefinitely, so Stitches taking that portal again, saving his own life, demonstrating that Stitches knows how to use portals effectively, at least, for the time being. And yup, I think the blue team were overextending a little bit there, as Azuwular on Li Ming does take eat a little bit of damage to her face. But Medivh, a little bit low on health, gets healed up by Alexstrasza. Very nice indeed. And Stitches again is caught out, but the Stitches have the tankiness in order to take down the team. And Medivh takes the portal to the backline, but unfortunately the blue team are retreating in the southwest direction. And Reyna venturing a little bit far too forward here, as Alexstrasza gets stunned by Diablo. And with that clutch Dragon Queen activation, I think Alexstrasza managed to save herself as she gains bonus health, additional health, as she's in Dragon Queen form. And looks like Stitches is going to take the portal and is going to use that opportunity to finish off Cassia, who was quite low on health. And Leoric gets taken down with that as well. And incidentally, it looks like Piotrek, who's actually playing the Stitches right now, he's messaging me right now, which is pretty, you know, ironic to say the least, as Stitches manages to land another beautiful hook again, and Leoric doing that nice old Leoric Drain Hope shenanigans. And Stitches furiously pings that he's ready to use Gorge, as Medivh also pings that Medivh is ready to use Portal. As many of you might know, in the replays, only a certain team's chat can be seen. So for example, if you're on the red team and you send your replay in, you can only see the red team's chat. For example, you cannot see the blue team's chat, which is a pity. I would actually really love Blizzard to allow the ability for players to see the opposition team's chat in a replay per se, which is really nice. As Stitches says he's ready to use Gorge. Is Stitches going to land an amazing Gorge, hook Gorge combo onto somebody, as Medivh is looking for a certain, as Diablo is gorged and Stitches takes the portal, and Diablo literally has become, Diablo's in Africa and he's trying to sustain off it, but unfortunately Diablo just loses his 100 souls, but he will respawn in 5 seconds, so no worries to his team. Unfortunately the leyline seal does not manage to connect to anything. Medivh taking that portal there. However, Stitches did use his hook a couple of seconds earlier, so unfortunately the red team will not see anything getting picked off just yet. You know, the main reason you pick Diablo is that he's really tanky, and he's really tanky when he has 100 souls, and unfortunately the only thing that is really essential for Diablo is the amount of health pool at 100 souls. I believe Diablo might have a little bit more health than Stitches with 100 souls, but I'm not sure about that. And he might need to do a little bit of mathematical calculation, as Stitches says he is ready to use Gorge. Well, I don't think Stitches can gorge anybody this far, as Medivh sort of flies around being a nuisance to everybody. And the blue team does manage to capture their mercenary camp on the left side of the map. Stitch's hook was so close there, I could have sworn that that hook should have landed, in my opinion. Ooh. Leoric decided to cast Drain Hope on Phoenix, who is incidentally the lowest HP target on the entire red team. As Stitches does manage to land that beautiful, beautiful gorge onto Diablo, as Diablo is transported to Africa once again. Or, more aptly speaking, he's transported to Wonderland, okay? Because the turrets and the fortifications, you know, it's a Wonderland, and Stitches manages to, you know, spam out that Stitches happy emote. As Medivh continues to be a nuisance, and actually Medivh does actually escape with the portal out of that entomb, and Cassia again is focused down by Phoenix and Reyna, who incidentally are extremely good sustained damage dealers, and I don't think that the blue team has enough burst to burst down Reyna or Phoenix. Partially because Phoenix, you know, Phoenix has a teleport and Reyna has a self-heal, which makes it much harder. I mean, Phoenix's teleport buys time for Alexstrasza's heal, because Alexstrasza's heals are usually quite very delayed, so it's usually a good way to buy time for it, as Medivh actually does manage to land another gorge into portal, and this poor Diablo, he's just getting beat on. He's just extremely tilted, as Phoenix actually, I think Phoenix is sort of tilted at that, and Phoenix decides to leave the game for, nope, it looks like it's the red team's Phoenix. He might have been so excited about that gorge hook combo that he decided to tab out. Oh, but the blue team's putting on a good fight, but I don't think they're quite a match for Alexstrasza's healing. But Leoric's two-man entomb actually does manage to do some work, but nobody was there to follow up on that entomb. Leaving was actually focusing down Stitches, I believe, as Medivh's Leyline Seal will actually manage to stop them in their tracks, but Reyna and Phoenix were a little bit too far behind and could not follow up or capitalize on that time stop. As the Protector is going to push the top lane for the red team, we see that the other lanes are getting pushed out, but unfortunately nothing's really happening right now, as Leoric testing the limits of his trait, it seems, as Leoric becomes a ghost once again. But if Leoric was not dead, he would have been able to utilize his Drain Hope percentage-based damage on the Protector, which would have resulted in the Protector getting focused down pretty quickly if that happened. Looks like this poor Diablo is just not having a good day today. Looks like Warg's Matron on Phoenix has returned to the game, and he's actually not. He's walking out, you know, he says, sorry, I must have been too excited at that gorge hook combo. As Stitches immediately takes the portal out. I mean, this Stitches has been on top of his portal usage. I mean, he's really been utilizing that Medivh's portals a lot, which is extremely rare to see. Unfortunately, I don't think Medivh's portal is quite up yet, as Stitches actually misclicks just for a second there, and Leoric actually does manage to get out fine. But I believe that even if Leoric was gorged into the red team's turret, he would have been able to Wraith Walk away pretty easily, I feel like. As Medivh says, portal is on cooldown, and peel track on Stitches is like, no problem, looks like 1 second late. And believe me, 1 second is a huge amount of time for any sort of one-move combo like that. If your ability is just 1 second late, it'll cost you a kill, especially in the late game per se. Lily, Cassia, Leeming and Diablo are going to do a camp as Leoric decides to soak a little bit of the bottom lane, and Alexstrasza picks up that healing pulse in preparation for the next objective. Stitches, let's actually see what Stitches. Stitches is actually going for that full tank build, so he's going for that full devour, so whenever he gets focused down, he can just devour and get a lot of health back. As Alexstrasza actually does that life binder ultimate, buying them a little bit of time, and actually Stitches was unable to take that portal at that exact second. But I think, just look at the amount of area of effect damage that the red team has. Phoenix and Reyna just doing Phoenix and Reyna stuff, you know, they're just so good at sustained damage. I mean, if you know StarCraft lore, you'll know that Phoenix and Reyna are actually really good friends. So it doesn't surprise me to see that they both have, you know, sort of the same attributes and qualities, as in they have really massive area of effect sustain damage. You might think that, you know, Reyna, area of effect damage? No way, but after Reyna's rework, I mean, his trait is just really good when it comes to, you know, dealing lots of area of effect basic attack damage in particular. But I feel that, you know, with a level 14 to 17 difference, the blue team probably shouldn't look to be doing this kind of stuff just yet. I mean, they're overextending a little bit, but thankfully Cassia, I think Cassia's trait, which gives her physical armor against basic attack, might just have saved her life bar there. Who knows, who knows. As Stitcher's actually saying, you know what, let's do another Gorge Hook combo, as Lily is actually going to get Gorge and hooked, and he's gonna get portaled and focused down by the red team once again. If I told you this was just a normal ranked game, and I had never met the Stitches before, you would not have believed it, but regardless, Phoenix might be a little bit overextending, as Li Ming is, actually Diablo is the one that's being hooked in. I believe Li Ming teleported out of the way of Stitch's hook, so that the Stitches actually hooked Diablo instead. I think this Diablo is a little bit tilted, he's trying to focus down the Div, but the Orcs and Tomb just as a pseudo wall blocker, I guess, sort of blocking the red team from actually engaging. And Medivh being a little bit cheeky here, doing that Gul'dan spray. But all the same, Diablo manages to get his 100 souls again. And the Orcs pushing a little bit of the top lane, but in the case of blue team, you know, I think the blue team should probably soak until 16 before contesting the objective, but Diablo decides no, it's time to engage, even with Yorick so out of place, and he gets gorged and portaled to Wonderland once again. This Diablo does not understand the intricacies of Stitches. An intricacy of Stitches is that Stitches can isolate you really hard. And Stitches and Alexstrasza and Medivh going to do a little bit of portal shenanigans, but unfortunately Stitches doesn't really have any sort of follow-up. Stitches is not a dive character, Stitches is, you know, an isolation character, sort of like Garrosh. And Reyna gets a little bit of a in a little bit of pickle, but Medivh combined with Alexstrasza's healing does survive that lightning breath from Diablo, and Stitches actually gonna get shielded by Medivh once again. Phoenix teleports outwards as the healing pulse is placed on the ground, restoring health and mana to all members of the red team. And Diablo and Yorick are just so low on health. Looks like this Alexstrasza, she doesn't want to do that. She wants to die instead, and the portal actually doesn't connect, and Alexstrasza doing a potato move right there. And Alexstrasza says, lag! Ooh, it's lag. Stitches is ready to use Gorge once again. Will we see another Hook Gorge combo? Looks like not. But it looks like Diablo's going to be transported to Wonderland once again! But unfortunately there is no follow-up here. Diablo, what's he going to do? It looks like Phoenix and Medivh are on the chase. And in case you didn't know, Phoenix, great at sustained damage. Medivh is one of the... Medivh is actually a good... And that Yorick actually does a beautiful Entomb, saving Diablo's life. That's a sort of next level 200 IQ play from John Cotchton on the Yorick. And Medivh doing a little bit of scouting as Lily pops her heroic just to do that little bit of healing, and Medivh showing off a little bit, of course, because that's what Medivhs do. Looks like Li Ming doesn't even have to be Gorge portaled combo in order to achieve that, but looks like Li Ming just was a little bit suicidal. But the blue team does manage to secure the protector, but will they make good use of this protector is the real question. And Lilia once again gets gorged and portaled into Wonderland, and Lily, unfortunately, even with her blinds, she's unable to survive that onslaught. I mean, you would never expect a little panda to be able to survive so much damage now, would you? Let's have a look. Reyna's getting that percentage-based damage at level 16, his bounty hunter. So Reyna will be doing percentage health-based damage against the Protector, which will melt it down pretty quickly if the blue team is not careful. But will Diablo get Gorged again? Looks like Gorge is on cooldown. It's just 20 seconds before Gorge can be used as Medivh managed to shield most of that damage. And Stitches is on the chase as well as Phoenix. And looks like the blue team haven't really managed to do much with this Protector. I mean, they've taken down part of this wall. They're taking out the top wall now. And it looks like they're going to retreat for the time being. It looks like as the red team is level 20, so Diablo going to Wonderland. Once again, this Stitches has been landing his Gorge portal combos just perfectly. And at this point, I feel like if I were Stitches, I would be laughing like a maniac, because that's what the Stitches does, you know. Ooh, that's just nasty, nasty stuff. You would never expect Stitches to be such a nasty, rough player. I mean, Stitches loves to play, right? And Stitches says never gets bored. I think what he means is it never gets boring. Stitches does mistime his hook there. I think he was expecting them to get off time stop slightly earlier, but you know, Stitches hooks on a reasonable 14-15 second cooldown, I believe. So the hook is actually back up already. And Gorge unfortunately is still on cooldown. There's 15 seconds before Gorge can be used. And Medivh's doing a little bit of poking. And the Wave of Force actually sort of knocks Reyna back, but doesn't really kill Reyna, you know. As Lily actually doesn't get Gorged, but she dies anyway. Because Lily, you know. Lily's not Diablo, she can't tank all the damage. And even if you were Diablo and you got hooked, gorged, and portaled, you still wouldn't be able to survive that. Regardless, Medivh portaling in to secure the kill onto Li Ming. Leoric using that Drain Hope when he's dead and to get that less respawn time, you know, less respawn time. I'm not sure about this Leoric, what build he's going on for. He's actually going for that full Drain Hope build, which is definitely not a very good choice in this particular instance, as the only high health character on the entire red team is just Stitches. And I don't think the blue team's intention should be to burst down Stitches, because that's not a very good, you know, that's not a very good thing. As helping hand from Stitches actually might have saved Phoenix's life there. As Phoenix, he's quite confident in his ability. And Stitches, once again, Stitches happy and baited, says Medivh. Medivh doing a little bit of scouting once again. Once again, he's doing a little bit of scouting. You know, you never know when the Diablo might be out of position once again. So, it's always good to do a little bit of scouting, and that's what Medivh's main purpose is when he's not fighting, is he should always be doing active scouting. As Diablo, I think, poor Diablo, if he gets hook gorged again, once again, that would be quite a pity. Stitches very, very hungry, and he manages to isolate Lily and Leoric before, you know, Leoric actually dies. Nope, as the time stop actually does stop Diablo and Li Ming in their tracks, but I don't think they're... will Diablo survive this? It's hard to say, honestly. Reyna has a lot of percentage-based damage, but I think Stitches and Leoric barely managed to survive that, which is really lucky for them. The only casualty on the blue team side was actually just Lily, which is good for the blue team, I guess. The less casualties there is, and the fishing hook. I believe Stitches taking the fishing hook, increasing the range of hook by 40%. Very, very good for isolating. Really out of position tanks like Diablo. Phoenix a little bit cheeky, but Medivh's doing that scouting for him. It looks like the blue team is posturing quite aggressively, as Reyna is just pushing into the keep. And I think that Leoric might be coming for Reyna. But again, Stitches does lose that, miss that hook, but nevertheless, Reyna does focus down Li Ming and instantly deletes Li Ming because of that overpowered trait, I guess. As Diablo once again. Nope, he's just gonna get focused down here instead. Poor Diablo once again. Poor Diablo as he loses that 100 souls again. And Reina, the 1v2 from Reina. And Stitches helping hand manages to save Reina once again. Lily gets focused down, and poor Cassia, even with all her physical armor, cannot block the mighty onslaught of the entire red team combined together as Medivh's Leyline Seal manages to lock them down with time stop, and both Leoric and Diablo become unstoppable. And I think this just might be game. And Phoenix being a little bit embarrassed about mistiming that purification salvo, but nevertheless the red team will take a victory in the end, as the objective was completely ignored, by the way, but whatever, you know, whatever. And that will be game for GG for the red team. Very well executed hook gorge portal combo by Stitches, and nevertheless to say, that was an amazing Stitches. I have to say that's one of the best Stitches plays I've ever seen. Of course, given that Diablo was constantly out of position, but that's the way you play Stitches essentially. You don't look to play Stitches as you're playing, you know, playing ETC or Johanna, for example. You don't go in and try to, you know, disrupt the enemy team, but rather you sort of just try to stay back and, you know, isolate particular targets. But I hope you guys enjoyed that one. I mean, I certainly enjoyed casting this one as much as I enjoyed playing it, and I hope you guys like this video. If you have any replays or exciting Bronze League style replays that you'd like to send in, please do send them in to sir.lightofvoid@gmail.com. My replay email address will be in the description box below, and as always, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!